Hello everyone, this is Peter Bomb for Australian Motorcycle News with an update about what happened in Hungary today at the MotoGP race at the Balaton Park circuit. What a relief, so much better than yesterday. Yesterday's sprint was a boring affair, and so I was a bit worried for today's race, honestly, but it was better. What we learned today is that, actually what we learned this year is sprints are often not that exciting, and this track doesn't make for exciting racing at all. So yesterday we had like a boring track, and that made for a really boring sprint race. Today's main race was a different affair. In the main race, people have to manage their tires a little bit, medium tire, soft tire, there's a full fuel load, there's lots of laps, which physically is something you have to deal with over the whole race. So you can like have a strategy, while the sprint is just a sprint. So it was better. Moto3 was good, Moto2 was fantastic, and MotoGP was not too bad. So it's still not my favorite track, but the racing was sort of entertaining in the end. Of course, Marc Marquez won it. I don't know how many weekends in a row now he does the pole, he does the sprint, and he does the main race. Theoretically, he can be in Misano the world champion, and then doesn't need to fly to Asia, which of course is not really. But it's possible because he does the maximum lap by lap by lap. He was so much better here in this weekend that first of all he was, I think, the only rider that saved a soft rear tire, because using one less in qualifying means in the race, and races on tracks like this have a little bit higher chance to have a red flag. If there's something silly happens, you have a red flag, then you have a restart. And Marc decided, I want to have an extra new soft tire just in case. So that shows how far he can think. He actually started the main race with the medium rear tire. Not so many people use the medium, less grip than the soft. But even with the medium, he could do what he wants. In the beginning of the race, when the soft was supposed to be a lot better, he could be fastest with the medium when he wanted. And in the end, with 3-4 laps to go, just for fun, he put down some unbelievable lap times as well. So obviously Marc was gone. Let's say Pedro Acosta did a really good race, finishing second, coming from the third row. Yesterday he was good. Qualifying he crashed, a big crash. I took, just for a change, not an action picture of Pedro, but more how the situation is when the rider comes back to the box. And this is definitely not during the session, because then there is more hectic. This is probably 5 minutes after the session, or maybe 10 minutes after the session, where he sit down with his crew. First of all, his most important man he speaks to, Paul Trevetten, a Kiwi veteran crew chief, which is the most important guy for the communication between him. But there has to be more people listening with him, which is most likely his electronic guy here, the chief mechanic here, the main suspension guy there. This is an engineer from KTM that is like a helicopter flying over all the teams and speaking and listening to all the riders. So he quickly realizes, oh, we all have the same problem. Oh, that's only him, so maybe we should do that. So this is the little group of the intimate group just around Pedro. All the riders have people like that around them. So yeah, with the second place, this was a really mature race, a lot more mature than yesterday. In the qualifying, when he threw it down the road in the first S tire he used, which made his qualifying difficult. And in the sprint race, he was so keen to overtake when there was clearly no option because the track's crap, that he ended up in the gravel trap. Today he was more calm, more mature, took his time, finishing second in a normal long dry race for a KTM. This is the Acosta that I expected to see in the beginning of the season, but at least we see him now. Very talented. Not enough patience, which is okay when you're a young rider. So really cool, but in the end, also the Aprilias for me were like super unbelievable this weekend. They finished third and fourth today. Third, Marco Bezzecchi was leading the first part of the race. And Jorge Martin coming back from 7 after one lap. I mean, he qualified way down, but because of all the chaos in the first couple of corners, you can't really say somebody went from P18 to 5, because the guy in P18 maybe is after 2 corners P9. And then if you finish P7, you gained really, for me, in my book, only just 2 places. But yeah, 2 Aprilias in the top 4, that's unbelievable, because Friday they weren't even in Q2. So bike's good. Jorge Martin is quickly learning because he's still getting used to the new bike. Marco Bezzecchi is growing with the bike, and the team shows the quality of a really good team, that even when Friday is difficult, they make a step to Saturday. And then from Saturday to Sunday, they make another step, which is something you don't see always at all the teams. So yeah, Aprilia really good. Not really good, but a really, really good picture. We have Paul Espargaro here going full lean angle, and and Jack Miller actually following him. There's a couple of things on this track that are interesting on this picture. First, you see the stones, because this must be the beginning of the race, and just before that, in the first lap, Bastianini crashed here, sliding over the inside and ending up with the bike in the middle of the track in the opening lap. So there were bikes everywhere going left and right around him. A bit of a tricky situation. It's one of the reasons this track is not so safe. So there's still some gravel here on this situation. The other thing you see is that Jack Miller's front wheel is pointing inwards. Now you almost never see front wheels turning inside to the corner. But if you, on a really slow speed, quickly change direction, you can see that. So it's more of a sign of how slow and tight the chicanes are on this track. Yeah, and this Bastianini that crashed here for me is like the silliest guy of this weekend, because he was really good in qualifying, second row. Yesterday he was a bit unlucky in the start, getting touched by Fabio Quartararo, but then half a lap later he ran full into the back of Zarco, getting 2 long laps for that. So you started the race already knowing, okay, 2 long laps, not a lot going to happen. Then he crashed within half a lap and couldn't rejoin the race. Means his next race, even if he's on pole position, he will still have to do his 2 long lap penalty. So everything went wrong for Enea Bastianini. The good thing is he had some speed on the KTM finally. Most troubled man of the weekend is still Pecco Bagnaia. After the summer break he comes back and it's just worse than before. He was fighting for second place with Alex Marquez normally, usually finishing third. But he's just worse now after the summer break. He's in a difficult position. He can't find any speed. He looks for setup changes and anything. He's completely lost on the bike. So very worried for him. What happens in 2 weeks in Barcelona with him? Unexpected good performance from the Hondas, especially Luca Marini. He got 4th in the sprint and he got 4th in the race today. But earlier this season he broke his hip in Suzuka on a test for the 8 hours. So this is not Luca Marini. I couldn't find a picture from today from Luca Marini. This is a picture of Zarco, of course. Zarco had actually a big crash in the one fast corner that we have, a biggie. He didn't have a really good weekend. What I love about this picture is that how deep the forks are when he's braking that hard with the 2 fingers. He has his leg out to keep the balance. The rear wheel is barely touching the ground. And this is this moment where they put all the weight also to the rear to make sure the rear tire stays on the track and just before you start to turn in. Hondas are actually really good in this moment and the moment afterwards when you start to turn in, which is exactly what you needed here on this track to do all the time. In total we had a little bit too many. We had 8 crashes during the main race, which is more than normal. And like I said, it's a bit of a go-kart track in the car park, more or less. So back to the Australian riders in Moto3, we had Joel Kelso 8 and Jacob Rulstone in 10. Decent results, not bad, but also not where they both want to be and a little bit need to be with an eye on next year. So it's a little bit in between, it's decent results, it's not the bad. But if they want to step up the game next year, they need to do a couple of more top 7, top 5 results to make sure next year Joel wants to go to Moto2, then you need to show a little bit more here. And Jacob Rulston just wants to stay in a good team in Moto3, and this is his 2nd year. He needs to step up the game, he knows that. Actually, Joel was in the top 7 for a great part of the race, but then dropped down. And then MotoGP, we had Jack Miller. Difficult weekend for Jack, although the good news is, at least it's a rumor that he might probably highly likely stay in Pramac Yamaha for the next year. This is the good news. The bad news was the Yamahas didn't perform here at all, and Jack managed to crash twice in today's race. He crashed once while really trying to be in the top 10 even, so really fighting for a good position, lost it in turn 1, picked the bike up, went going again alone just to gather some daytime, and then he lost it again. So maybe usually after a crash you're a little bit out of your system, and after that there was a little bit of a clutch problem or something. So yeah, this pic shows obviously Jack, but look at Miguel Oliveira, who's a little bit wide here and tries to come back in a tight chicane where it's right and immediately followed by a left one. That's a silly lean angle you see. That's if people like Oliveira here loses the front, he doesn't really crash, he just slides 2 meters and stops because you are already with everything on the ground. So that's it from today's Balaton Park MotoGP race. Hope you enjoyed it. Speak to you in 2 weeks again with the updates from the Barcelona MotoGP. Thanks for watching.